And extended learning for Hilliard City Schools. I'm going to have Craig and Stacy introduce themselves, and then we'll get into an overview of what we do every day in Hilliard and how we connect with our students with opportunities within Ohio and around the world. So, Craig, Stacy, would you introduce yourselves?
Sure, Craig, I'll go first. My name is Stacy Carter. I am the principal at the Hub, which is just part of our one building, part of our innovation campus, and we all work together collectively as a team.
And I am Craig Vroom, the other side of the team, the other side of the campus. I'm over at the Innovative Learning Center, the principal over on this side and supports this side in the campus. And I also oversee our online academy and our online services for Hilliard City Schools.
All right, thank you. We're going to get right into it. A little overview of our district in general. We're the 10th largest district in Ohio. We get to serve over 16,700 students, pre-K through 12. Our district encompasses the city of Hilliard, the city of Columbus, and portions of Dublin. So Columbus is the 14th largest city in America. So it's a pretty big area that we get to serve, and opportunities are abound in this region. We are wonderfully diverse. We have 77 countries represented in our school district, with the United States, Mexico, and Venezuela being the top three. 63 languages spoken, and we'll get to talk a little bit about what we do for newcomers to our country here. Those top four languages: English, Spanish, Arabic, and Somali. And then you can see our diversity: 64% white, 13% Hispanic, 9% African American. Pretty large socioeconomic diversity as well, with 35% on free and reduced lunch, 11% EL, and then we have 16% of our students are special ed. We have three high schools, traditional high schools, and a fourth online academy. Our high schools are anywhere from 1,600 students to almost 1,900 students. Three middle schools, two sixth grade buildings, 14 elementaries. And why we're here today, we're going to talk about our innovation campus that serves 6th through 12th graders and about 1,500 students a day. We'll talk about that structure and allow for time for you to ask questions. We have a campus. It started about in 2009 with a vision, in the early 2000s with a vision, and then came to life in 2009 with the Innovative Learning Center. We had members of our community, along with district leaders, come together and talk about what schools should be like in the 21st century and beyond. And we repurposed our central office, which held all of our district administrators, superintendent, directors, and our technology teams, and repurposed that into what was the Innovative Learning Center, our first building. It expanded, and we took over the annex and a whole nother building called the Innovative Learning Hub, just around the roundabout here in Hilliard. And now we get to serve over 1,500 students a day, and we'll talk about how we get them to the Innovation Campus. We love this quote from Steve Jobs, and this helped us in the visioning at the very beginning. We kind of took the quote that Apple had and made it our own. So we wanted to start with the student experience and work backwards towards the learning, not the other way around. So experience is at the center of everything we do, both the student experience, the staff experience, and then anybody that gets to walk in our buildings. We want them to have an experience that they'll remember and that they'll be able to catapult into that learning every single day. A lot of what we did, most of what we did, it was grounded in research, and we connected with Harvard's Project Zero, Stanford's Graduate School of Education and the Institute of Design, the D School at Stanford. And foundational in everything we do is that design thinking framework, the design process. To us, innovation begins and ends with empathy, and we want our students to be able to solve real world problems that matter to them in collaboration with one another, and being able to meet people that need problems solved. So that becomes very important. The Project Zero part, making thinking visible, thinking routines. We've partnered with our ESC of Central Ohio, and we've hosted folks from Harvard here. Members of our team have had the opportunity to go to Harvard's Project Zero school and get trained there as well. So it's been really important for us to have everything that we do grounded in research, allow our students to be curious, to solve problems that matter to them. And you'll hear us say this throughout, a bias toward action is really important. We want our students to learn by doing. So, and when we create a culture of deep thinking, the byproduct of that is deep learning. On our campus, we organize it into 5 different networks, and Craig and Stacy will go deeper into this and when we go through the virtual tour and video. We have a global network, an imagination network, a personal success network, college jumpstart, and a young professionals network. And we really want our students to plug into these networks. In our future visioning, we have other networks in mind. We'll be able to talk about that as we advance through today. Again, that bias toward action, learn by doing. There's a different view of the design thinking framework that we created that certainly aligns to the D School at Stanford. We want to have a challenge, and then students diverge and converge in identifying that problem. They do that in gaining empathy interviews, talking to different people, realizing, putting ourselves in the shoes of others to be able to define a problem. And then we go to work in ideating, prototyping, testing. And it's not as linear as this looks. There's a lot of ambiguity in what we get to do, but our students enjoy it. They feel like there's relevance in their learning as they go through these design challenges. And we often host those throughout the campus, and we invite other member schools to be able to come here and do the same. We talked a little bit about the 1,500 students that come to the Innovation Campus here daily. We run 64 shuttle buses, and they come in and take some unique programs in those specific networks. I want to call out the Newcomer Center. We spoke about the diversity here in Hilliard. Students new to the country get to come here and experience that transition, be able to get a feel of what it is like in Hilliard, and then also have that warm start and be able to adapt to the language as they get into this new learning. The young professionals, we have a teacher academy, a business academy, a healthcare academy. We have a strong career mentorship program, and we're getting ready we are at a very small level scaling experiential learning, and we'll talk about that as well. Early college is the College Jumpstart Network, a partnership with Columbus State. We have students that take classes either online or in person in area colleges as well and throughout the country. But we have a partnership at the Innovation Campus where students take what we call College Credit Plus in Ohio. Some of you may know it as dual enrollment. And a lot of what we get to do is STEM and STEAM programming that is interest-based and really at the intersection of interest and opportunity in our region post-high school. We've partnered with Amazon Web Services and created the second ever global Think Big space. So we have a really dynamic program in there called Beta. It's a play off of STEAM. It's a business, entrepreneurship, engineering, technology, and art. And then a lot of what we do is transdisciplinary, where we integrate a variety of disciplines. We've taken core classes and embedded it with STEM classes, and we have multiple core classes simultaneously being taught with a design thinking course embedded in there. So that gives a quick overview. And again, Craig and Stacy will go through some details. And guys, hop in, please, if I'm missing anything, Craig or Stacy. One of the things that we pride ourselves on is this Innovation Campus literally is for everyone. Whether you're an EL student on an IEP, want to take advanced coursework, everyone is welcome here, and we take a great deal of pride. It is a lottery system if programs are over requested and we can only accommodate a certain amount of them. It's a true lottery system, and that beta class is an example of that. whether students on an IEP, does not matter. We have intervention specialists here. We have support teams in place to be able to help our students where they're at so that they can access these experiences. And by design, we want everybody to be able to experience these things. I talked a little bit about the College Jumpstart. A big focus now in Ohio, it's now the Ohio Department of Education and Workforce. So there's been a strong emphasis on embedding industry recognized credentials, being able to earn 12 points towards graduation, and then those experiential learning opportunities like internships, co-ops, pre-apprenticeships, and mentorships. So that's part of our strategy. And we do this in partnership with a lot of different people. We've plugged into Ohio Governor's Office of Workforce Transformation has the high school tech internship program, which is a reimbursement program that we've plugged into right away. And our students get to experience on the job, real life paid experiences through that. And then our partners get reimbursed for the money that they pay the students. We have, and I'll talk about this a little more detail, a strong partnership with the city of Hilliard, and they've connected us with several startups, and Convergent Technologies is one of those. Ohio State University's in our backyard. Last weekend, we hosted a hackathon in partnership with their club. There's a huge presence with Amazon Web Services here. We hosted a Girls Tech Day and an Innovation Day in partnership with them. We started a skilled trades expo several years ago, and now that is attended by over 3,000 students annually because we realize it's important to build the infrastructure of that Silicon heartland that is Central Ohio. The city of Hilliard, we work with their economic development team and their city manager, and we try to inspire opportunities for our students and businesses to come here and start those opportunities here in the city of Hilliard. And we have innovation grants and things like that that we work with in partnership with the city on that. The city is organized itself as a laboratory. And so that whole concept is pretty amazing. They call it Hilliard City Lab, and there are several different organizations that are plugged into that. I share that because our students are a big part of that. Part of that workforce development is plugging our students into these types of opportunities, whether it's that pre-apprenticeship or a high school tech internship. The city as a lab and plugging these students into these experiences help them make informed decisions about their future. And we've had students that have gone through this and gone right into the workforce, and then also gone into majors in STEM education. And so that's been great. We celebrate those students that are really planning to go through. They graduate Hilliard City Schools and they go through graduation. We celebrate that. We have a strong partnership with Worthington Industries. We do a signing day. Students that graduate go right into the workforce. You see some images there on the left with that. But a big emphasis is not just getting to the finish line of graduation. That's just a stop on their journey. We want them to be prepared. And in Hilliard, our motto is ready for tomorrow, and we want every student to be ready for their tomorrow. I get to work with some of my colleagues, Rich Bettner and Mark Pullman, on what we call a Transform Ed team. And we dive into different concepts. And an example here is how we went into artificial intelligence. And so we've connected with the experts in the field. We go to higher ed, and then we do some deep research, bring that back to our greater teams, and then we scale that throughout the district, that understanding. So this is a little bit of an example of how we do that on a regular basis. Actually, just prior to this, we had a team in and we were finalizing some things on how to leverage artificial intelligence at the elementary school level. So the Innovation Campus is the Innovation Campus is 6 through 12. We created innovation and discovery centers in every elementary and sixth grade building in Hilliard. It's that same concept as the campus, and students get to have these hands-on, minds-on experiences grounded in literacy, but exposed to different things in science and STEM, career exploration, imagination, and things of that nature. And then the whole while, we want our students, wherever they are within Hilliard City Schools, to have these 5 competencies that we call a portrait of a learner. I think a lot of school districts throughout the country do some things similar, but we want every student without exception to have these critical thinking, empathetic citizen skills, purposeful communication, resilience, and self-advocacy. And that's going to help them. And we hear that from our partners. We hear that from higher ed, that it's very, very important to have these opportunities and these skills cultivated as they go through their journey within Hilliard. I'm going to pause right now and open it up for some questions, and then we'll turn it over to Craig and Stacy, who will walk through a video. Do we have any questions out there?
I have a question. Hi, Katie Hainline. I'm a principal at John Marshall School of Information Technology in Cleveland. I'm wondering what kind of access your students have in terms of artificial intelligence. What is your vetting process? And we're trying to get access to some AI tools for students here, but it is a fight. So I'm just wondering, what do you guys use? Do kids have access to Chat GPT, Copilot, etc.?
Yeah, that's a great question. We are trying to scale responsible use with all these things. AI is not going away. We do provide access at the secondary level for students to be able to leverage artificial intelligence. Those tools matter, and we're teaching them responsible use, the ethics behind that, and that is just a tool. So we don't necessarily endorse one or the other, but we have Google products, so Gemini, Chat GPT. Those are different products. We're not purchasing at scale anything yet, but we do leverage some of those free resources for our students. But we also train our staff on that responsible use. We have professional development days throughout the year, and a strong focus over the last several years has been on artificial intelligence. We have a phenomenal technology team. Rich Bettner and Mark Pullman have been in front of this from the very get-go. Even with Senate Bill 29 coming up or here, and the impact that has, we're in front of that. But we do endorse the use of it responsibly, but not any specific products. Does that help?
Can I jump in real quick?
Yeah.
So much so, Stacy Carter, hi, I'm the principal at the Hub, that we just this year have introduced a new class called Next Generation Changemakers, where the students, as part of that, they work in Minecraft education, but they also do explore AI and using that technology to best serve their community. So we are trying to embrace it, and all the while supporting our teachers curricularly on how to embed that in their classes.
Any other questions right now? There will be more that get prompted as we share a video. Right. Well, I'm going to turn it over to Craig and Stacy, and we'll have more time for additional questions here in a moment.
Thank you, Mark. We're going to do a quick flyby, about a 5-minute long video that's going to give you an overview of our campus. That building right there is Stacy's building. That is the Hub. As Mark shared earlier, between the 2.5 buildings, we offer programming 6 through 12 that truly speak to the student interest. One of our courses, one of the original courses on the campus, is called Vibe. We have both a middle school version and a high school version, where we take them through the industry, whether that's video production, whether that's experiencing an opportunity with instruments. We have our own soundproof room where kids can actually make and create, mix, and share out with the community. In Hilliard, we actually have throughout the summer an open mic night where many of these students have an opportunity to go just up the street and share what they're doing. We have 2 teachers in the program, one middle school block, we'll call it, and then 2 separate high school versions where they're using today's technology, the most recent, latest platforms for them to learn and grow as they enter their future opportunities or interests possibly in the field. Everything from a green room right in front of you there, you see it. And our teachers do a phenomenal job with students that come in with very little to no skill set and take them from there. In a partnership with Toll's Technical Center, we have a Health Professionals Academy, also another program that is both for middle school and high school students. Our middle school students are learning the art of being in the health profession. And then our high school students that want to come back or maybe take it as a course in the high school years. We partner with different outside entities, even our local fire department and other hospitals and agencies. And the Shaw there gives them real world opportunities to get out and have a mentorship with people in the workforce. Over here at the main building at our Innovative Learning Center, our middle schools are alive and thrive, work together. We bring students together from all three middle schools and high schools for each respective programming. We have a project EDU where students in the 8th grade can explore the potential of possibly being educators themselves. We like to grow and breed our own, and they get to collaborate, communicate, critically think, and truly work together throughout the network. And then one of the last programs I get to share about is our Business Academy. Again, a middle school and high school program for them. So with that, Stacy, I'll throw it to you.
So the ILC had electives down, pat. They were doing a really great job with it. But when we opened the hub, that was our opportunity to add some core classes in. So we did add a science and a language arts. It's called Core Infusion, as well as a math class aligned with an aerospace engineering class. Again, as Mark said, everything is rooted in that design thinking. So kids, these are, they're in our makerspace, solving problems, creating prototypes, all the while learning their core classes. So that what you're looking at right now is the class I spoke about, the next generation change makers. We partnered with Game Arena, which is a game company here in town, and he's providing us curricular support as well as some of the machines that you see. You're looking now at our general spaces. We open up our classes. Kids work independently and collaboratively, depending on what it is, the task that they're learning. This is our beta lab that Mark talked about, where kids get to look at all elements of design and then bring their design to life. They design it, in Adobe Illustrator, and then actually get to send them to a CNC router or a laser engraver. They work in Tinkercad to create things for the 3D printer. But they're not only creating for themselves, but they are also participating in the design challenge by garnering empathy. So they're interviewing and they're creating for other people, which is really important. It helps answer the why are we doing this. We do offer, as Mark said, we have honors programs as well as inclusion programs, as well as a regular language arts program. We have an art and ecology program, which focuses on sustainability. It has 2D and 3D art. Students get to create art, but they're also learning about their responsibilities to the environment and what they can do to make a difference while they're kids now, but also we try to bring in local artists and other people in the art community to show them, what it looks like in real life. As Mark said, everything is a bias toward action. They're not just sitting and listening, they're actually doing. And so we have a really special group of teachers who are committed to offering, just really great experiences for kids. And we work on learning the Harvard and the Project Zero as a focus. Again, Mark talked about the transportation. We transport kids all day long from buildings throughout the district. So we value our partnerships with the transportation department, maintenance, custodial. It really takes all of us to keep our buildings up and running. But as we're going to talk about here in just a minute, we are very fortunate to have separate buildings. This was when we took the hub over, it was just a regular school building, but the thinking and the collaboration and the feeling around the bias toward action is what makes us truly innovative. We're constantly looking at programming, getting feedback from business and industry and our students about what they want to learn. So quite often we're tweaking and changing our courses, and no one year looks the same on our campus. That was a lot.
Yeah, thank you, Stacy. You did a great job. And Craig, staying on point and really talking about some of those pictures in the video while it was on the screen for the audience to see. At this time, we would love to answer some questions. I'm seeing some in the chat. We can take some of those, or if anybody has them, we'll take, if you want to voice your questions right now, we'll do those first. Does anybody have one?
We must have done a really great job explaining.
Yeah.
That was more talking than we've done in a while.
Everybody has the same name, so I can't call anybody out.
Well, Mark,
Sorry.
Matthew Silva has a question about whether or not you ever get pushback on the iPad not being industry standard, and how do you respond to that?
No, not at all. We do not get any pushback. As a matter of fact, the versatility of the iPad as not a consumption tool, but a creation tool is very important to us. We're seeing kids leverage the video side of that, all the different tools that they can have, the apps that really help redefine what the learning experience can be. I think sometimes people get caught up on the device. We're grateful with the agility that the iPad has. That doesn't mean we don't have some labs. We have some Mac labs, we have some PC labs, but every student has an iPad, and that helps them redefine that experience because you're seeing them use it every day. Just the durability of the iPad and the functionality that it has, the accessibility features. It is dynamic and really meets the needs of the learners we get to serve every single day. So not anything at all. When we get into like industry standard, it's really software driven. And when we have, like, for example, Adobe Illustrator in Ohio, there's credentials. We're going to make sure students can access that the way they need to access that, whether that's on an iPad, a Mac, or a PC lab. But we find ways to be able to get the right technology in our students' hands. But again, I think the iPad has been transformational as we engage our learners in meaningful creation, not consumption.
Mark, I'm going to jump in from the building perspective. We've been one-to-one for, I don't a long time. Rich, you can tell me exactly how long. But I think we are so successful with the iPad because the technology department offers really great professional development through, from the district level, but we also are fortunate to have ed tech coaches who plan with our teachers regularly, who co-teach. So we don't just hand kids, teachers devices. But we're grateful for the support from the technology department in combination with our curriculum department to be able to, not just use it as a digital notebook.
Yeah, I think, Stacy, you hit a great point. The rollout plan, I think, was unprecedented. I know our technology department has been lauded throughout the country about how they rolled it out. We started with 6th grade and we had champion users, and it was really well done over time. And now we're 11 years in, and I quite honestly couldn't imagine not having them because of the transformation of what it has allowed our students, how they access and engage and express their learning.
But that being said, we do blend the learning very well. So, we're arming kids with the knowledge of being able to choose which device is most appropriate for their learning. So if it is on the iPad, that's great. If it's not, you saw pictures of our makerspace, If it's building with construction paper or cardboard or trash, really, then they pick that too. So it's, again, walking alongside of our teachers and students to best determine what's right for what they're trying to accomplish.
Other questions?
Thank you for that.
I noticed that as I was listening and writing down lots of things and tapping away, do you have a list of like the courses and like the different things you've designed? Like I was catching some, but I didn't catch all of them, or like a scope and sequence of just different things that you developed or anything from there that we can take a look?
We'll drop a link in our in the chat here to our website. It's Hilliard City Schools Innovation Campus. If you just Googled that, you'd be able to see that.
Okay.
But yeah, it's really middle school, high school focused. But yeah, it's the college is those dual enrollment. It's their English. It is their U.S. history, the composition, those types of things. But then we have, Stacy talked about core infusion. One of the challenges when we opened up the hub, we wanted to have core classes here for middle school because our primary 3 buildings were getting overcrowded. One of them is nearly 1,000 students. So we're pulling, 200 and some students every 2-period block to the innovation campus to be able to meet that need. But yeah, we'll share all of that in the link. I think Rich just threw it in there right now.
What's great, I'm just going to jump in. On that website, our teachers who know our course is the best, they all have videos there explaining and showing with pictures specifically on what their class contains, because we do have to work to recruit kids and families really to know what it is we do here. So we try to get the communication out in a number of ways. And luckily the district does support, our getting our messaging out to the home buildings as well.
I have a couple questions.
Yeah.
First of all, very inspiring. I loved your presentation. It really inspires us. We are really, looking to do some of these things that you're doing. We are in the middle of, working on constructing a building that's going to encompass a lot of this. The big thing that I see as a difference, we are in a very, very small town. We're furthest east of Ohio. We're 2 hours from you, is your business partners and industry. And, do you have any suggestions on that? Because, you're really working with a lot of different, great business partners. And it's hard for us because we're in this little town. And the second question is, can we tour your facility as well to get some ideas and to get, we've been doing some touring in Pennsylvania, but I think Ohio, because you're doing a lot of the dual credits, the workforce credentialing, things like that we're looking at doing. And ditto to the iPads. We've been 1-to-1 as well and wouldn't go any other way.
Awesome.
You boss.
Yeah, maybe we can coordinate a tour. We for the longest time had coordinated dates and people would come. We'd have the whole district. They would see maybe a high school, a middle school, an elementary school, and a big focal point was the innovation campus. We have, since COVID, we've not done that. We do small groups, like if we had a group of you that wanted to do it, but we had like 300 people sign up to do that, and we made it an event, and we fed everybody and that type of thing. So we'll revisit if that's something that we want to do. But yes, we can handle some of that.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, and just shoot us an email. We'll put all of our contact information in the chat. With the workforce development and those partners, we do have a luxury to work with the city of Hilliard, and then the region, as I described earlier, is such a dynamic region of opportunity. But if I would I would partner with your chambers of commerce, your city mayor or city manager, we have a manager in Hilliard. I started partnering with them, and the next thing I know, they're like, "Hey, would you want to be on the Economic Development Corporation, which is a nonprofit arm of the city?" And then the next thing you know, I'm in there for a couple of years, and now I'm the president of that. And so, which is cool. So I can see what's out there, and we partner strategically with the city. So they did an economic development strategic plan, and then I had the luxury of having all that information and was there on the ground floor. So when we wrote our strategic plan, there was direct alignment. And so the expectation is that we work in partnership with them. And sometimes when they're trying to attract new business and industry to this region, I'll go in and talk about it from a school perspective, what we would love to see happen, what the structure is in Ohio around workforce credentialing, pre-apprenticeships, internships, and the like. So I would do an audit of the big companies there. Where is the big business in your region? But I was also plug in with the city and see what they have. But I do understand, and then there's got to be some virtual. We are looking into virtual reality for credentialing. There's virtual like MIG welders and things like that. When it becomes a little bit more challenging in terms of access to companies, I think we have to think more creatively on how to do that and what it could look like virtually. Are you in Ohio?
Yes, yes. We are right across the river from Wheeling, West Virginia.
Okay. So we do leverage some expanding opportunity, grant money, and Title IV competitive to be able to leverage some experiences for kids too and take them places. First year college tours. After we did the Skilled Trades Expo, we're taking different interested kids to the Joint Apprenticeship Training Centers. We do believe that you have to see it to become it. And so we're pushing them out. The students out, but we're also bringing the experts in, whether that's physically or virtually.
Okay, great.
I just want to add real quick, and this is not because Mark is doing my OPES this week, but Mark is really, really good at getting out and just asking. He always said the worst thing that they can do is say no. So it's not, he's talking very, smoothly about all this, like it kind of just fell into place. But I mean, Mark is really good at calling, like just asking the question and then being okay if they say no, but pushing just a little bit to get that connection. But you can go ahead and write that in my OPES, Mark.
I will. Thank you.
Thank you.
But it is that though. I appreciate that, Stacy. We already don't have it. So if we don't ever ask, you know what I mean? So if we want to evolve and we can't do it alone. So there's got to be an infrastructure of support and intentional connection. So there's a great deal of strategy around all of this. And we're doing that in partnership with our entire district, but also several stakeholders. But I keep wanting to say Liz to you, but we also are cultivating what we call industry sector partners. So, and we do that in partnership with the ESC, but healthcare, we have all of the big healthcare facilities are coming together to host big events. Just like the Skilled Trades Expo, we started it, but now we're letting other districts come in and plug into that. So these big events in a continuum of experiences, pre-K through 12, like grade bands. We took every fifth grade boy and girl to Girls Tech Day. Was something that was done at COSI here. And that's in partnership with Amazon Web Services. And they hosted that. We did help out in planning that, but then we wanted an experience for our boys. So we created a innovation day with partners within our city and how they're doing innovative things.
Mark, one of our participants had a question about whether or not the district uses competency-based grading.
I'm going to turn that over to Craig and Stacy. Take a stab at that.
I'll defer to Stacy. Go for it.
Well, we do use a traditional grading system to report the grades, but here on campus we are mastery based or mastery referenced really. So we have worked with the ELA and the science and the math standards as well as the ISTE standards to create mastery rubrics. As a team, it's been an ongoing, I don't know, I think this is, 7 years into it. And we keep, reiterating and improving the language in those rubrics. But yes, we are definitely mastery referenced. And then the teachers report it out to families in different ways. But again, with that, you have to be crystal clear with the family on what the grades mean, because if not, then they're used to the 5 points for completion, which we do not subscribe to.
That's the same way in the online academy. I think when you think of the infrastructure that we are talking about, we would be, especially around the workforce side of things that everyone's trying to figure out. The online academy allows for flexibility to be able to go experience things. So we have over 75 courses. Craig, do you want to talk a little bit about the courses and then I'll talk about what it helps do in there?
Yes, definitely. So just historically, Hilliard schools have offered online courses for almost 20 years now. It's something that we bought into a long time ago. Through the pandemic, a shout out to Mark and the team. We took pre-pandemic a group of about 100 students that were full-time online. For some reason, need or requirement, they going to a traditional building was not an option, or they preferred not to. So we took on a full-time group where they could experience an entire high school, 9 through 12. We offer, as Mark said, I think it was 75 classes. You can, in partnership with some building and outside experiences, earn all of the state of Ohio graduation requirements. We can fulfill all of that throughout. I was starting to shout out to the team with Mark and Rich, I'm sorry. Pre-pandemic, we had 100. We got shut down, if you all remember, middle of March. Between March and June, July, then August, we gave our district the opportunity for students to go full-time online that first full year of the pandemic. And our team, our 16 teachers here, plus so many teachers out in the building, created an entire K-12 experience. And we served over, I believe it was 3,600 students, full-time online K through 12, year one. We dropped significantly the following year. But now, as Mark started to allude to, we are well past pandemic. We do have about 100 students that are full-time. We've got another 50 that are half-time. Those students may be in their traditional building the other half. They may be at our tolls center. They may have an experience. We have 2 young men in this case that are part of our Columbus Crew Academy, our MLS soccer team, and they're required to be in training during part of the academic day. So they do our online courses, and then they're able to follow their passion and their interest there. We are getting ready to roll out, actually great timing, next semester with the PAST Foundation right here in Columbus, down on campus of The Ohio State University, where we're going to take our online students out into the world. We're going to work on their 12-point credentialing. So we're partnering with them. We believe that will help them prepare them, well, multiple folds, prepare them for their tomorrow, get them exposed to opportunities, while at the same time getting in that credentialing component, which many of our students are not always successful at some of the academic ways that maybe an in-person student might get through an algebra test or the ELA exam. So really we try to make it important to have our full-time remote kids have an in-person experience, and I could go on, but I think I'll take the hook here. We got about 40 of those kids that come into this building every day for face-to-face support from our entire team. So I think, Mark, that's where you were hoping I would go, so that's where I went.
Yeah, you did.
Yep. Yep,
I,
I have a passion for our online program. I will tell you, the one group in Carter, I see your face over there. The other part that I want to point out is, and I've got one other friend and former colleague on this conversation with us today. We offer the third layers at a la carte. We've got over 2,800 individual credits going out this semester supporting students that are full-time in person, but might have become credit deficient. And so we are the solution to that. And we offer that opportunity for these kids to get caught up and hopefully graduate on time. But we are very proud of the work that we do in Hilliard with our online program.
And I would say that it is needed to be flexible to open up the other experiences. Online learning is extremely valuable in and of itself, and it creates the opportunity for the agility a student needs to be able to go dive into something else. We have several students that may take 1 or 2 classes face-to-face in a building or on our campus, and then they're taking maybe a class or 2 online. The second half of their day, they're interning or they're in a pre-apprenticeship. And those things matter, and we're trying to scale more of that. And so as we look at different ways to do it, the online academy becomes a linchpin in all of it. And these online courses do free up that time.
Yep.
Other questions?
Thank you, everyone. I know that there was another question. Somebody did raise a hand, so we'll give a few seconds here for that person to unmute and share the question. Maybe that person's still working on it. So in the meantime, can you talk a little bit about developing the culture of innovation in the district and as part of the Innovation Campus?
Absolutely. I think with the evolution of technology and different opportunities, we had to think differently. And we're grateful with the 2020 initiative that set all of this up. We had leaders before I was in Hilliard that were way ahead of this. What do our students need to thrive in the 21st century and the rate of change and all those things? So that strategic plan was written to guide us to the phase that we got to open up what was the McVeigh Innovative Learning Center. What is the McVeigh Innovative Learning Center? And so that became really important. But this culture of innovation is that it's centered around empathy. And again, I'll say innovation begins and ends with empathy. And we want to be able to solve real world problems that matter to the students we serve, that matter to the community we serve, that matter to the world that we're a part of. And that we want to be able to add value through that innovation. So we've got to think different. We all know the rate of change, the rate of information. So how do we organize this in a way where we can incubate and try things here? And if it works, maybe we push it out. Like we've piloted programs that have come and gone and scaled. American Sign Language started on here on the Innovation Campus, and now it's our #1 most popular world language. And I think that's really phenomenal that we're able to do that and incubate here. Actually, we can't even find enough teachers. It's become that in demand. So it really is a culture of permission to be able to do these things from a district level leadership. I'm grateful to be part of our cabinet team, and we talk about these things on a weekly basis. And then we're able to have the freedom to explore, investigate, make research based decisions to impact our students in our community.
Mark, I don't know if you've mentioned it yet, but when we talked about the inception of the campus and the programming and then how it has expanded over the course of time, Mark, you often say it best. You can offer these programs anywhere, but not with everyone. I think, Mark, your point of that, it's truly the people that are passionate about the program, that are thinkers and risk takers and not afraid to try and fail and then pick themselves up again. Some of our greatest conversations with our colleagues are things that they attempted, and of course the celebration of the success, but then the working together and collaboratively to try again in that constant cycle of just being willing to take risks and just to go for it, and then processing that out in the hopes that it betters the student experience and also challenges our staff professionally. So that can be our in-person or even our online. We're constantly evolving in what we offer our student experience.
I would
Like,
just,
oh, look, go ahead.
go ahead, Stacy. Go ahead.
Okay, so I would, like you saw on our video, beta, which is a hugely popular class, which, you know, we got in partnership with Amazon Web Services. They purchased all this equipment for us and for the kids to create. And that's great. And the kids love to do that. But we have just as many kids who come here to take our core classes. And the only thing you need to have a core infusion design class is teachers that have the same planning period, and that can dream together, and probably maybe a makerspace or access to trash. But I understand not everybody's as, you know, fortunate to have a campus and the support that way. But as long as you give teachers, you know, like planning time and permission to try and fail, like, it's incredible things happen. It's incredibly difficult. These teachers work. I've been in for 22 years, the hardest of any teachers I've ever seen work. And these are veteran teachers who constantly reinvent themselves year after year after year. But it's to offer a top-notch experience, you know, that highlights those skills of collaboration, critical thinking, resilient learners, all of the things that, you know, we call out on our portrait of a learner. But you have to have people who are ready to go, and then all the way up support from the higher ups.
Yeah, I would just say that the teacher mindset is so important. Craig said it, like, you can do this anywhere, but not with anyone. The permission, the support, but it really takes some unlearning and relearning, because our industry, education in general, is very traditional. And you look at a classroom today and you look at a classroom from 75 years ago and it looks similar. So we have to think different to be able to make the impact that really prepares our students. And that does involve some unlearning. And there are some challenges even within our district. I just want to be very transparent. We need to advocate. We need to be able to challenge the status quo. And we need to be able to have a backbone. And so that is something we deal with every day, and we're grateful to do that. There's an enormous amount of support, but there are some challenges that we endure. But we do this in service to our kids. So we love everything about it, but there are some challenges for sure.
And it's helpful that when you look at the OST metrics, our kids are performing, in most cases, outperforming their peers who don't have our experience. So that's always helpful to kind of to get, you know, people on your side, if you have you know, questions or things like that. But that helps.
Thank you all so much. I know that it was many years ago that I first did the tour of Hilliard City Schools, not long after the one-to-one program was launched, and it was impressive to me then, and it's still impressive to me today. So we really appreciate you sharing your story, and in addition to that, being the first district to kick off our Let's Go Presents webinars. I know that we had several participants from around the state, but also out of state. So we're so glad that they got to hear about the good work that you and your students are doing. Just a reminder to those who are attending, our Let's Go Ohio Summer Symposium will be in Hilliard this summer in June. Stay tuned for a specific date. You can always visit the Let's Go Ohio website at letsgooh.com. That's been shared in the chat as well. Thank you again for attending, and please feel free to visit our website and we have those email addresses from the chat so that we'll be sure to follow up. Thank you all so much.